If you want to learn how to make this cute card, keep watching. This video is for you. We are going to jump right into today's video. We're going to be creating a cute floral card with some products from Simon Hurley Create. Now, one of these stamp sets is a new release from Simon's collection, and I'll have everything linked down in the description below. We're starting off with an older stamp set. This is a background stamp called Painted Lines, and it's one of my all-time favorites because it just creates beautiful cards so easily and quickly. I'm using a little bit of one of Simon's dye ink pads. This one is called Over the Moon. It's a nice soft yellow color, and I am using that to stamp this painted line background stamp. Now, if you're using a MISTI, you are going to want to take out the little foam pad that comes in it so that you can use a rubber background stamp in your MISTI. Otherwise, it won't close properly, but if you just take out that little pad, it fits perfectly with the rubber stamps and you get an awesome impression. Now, I did stamp this a couple of times just to make sure I got a nice crisp impression, and then I moved on to the rest of my background. Now, this is the new stamp set. This one is called Fresh Cut Flowers, and it's from Simon's latest release. I absolutely love the pull-apart background stamp sets that Simon has come out with because they are so unique and just kind of a game changer to the background stamp collection that we all already have. Now, I removed the image that I wanted from the background stamp, and I'm using some black ink from Maker Forte to stamp out the images on the background here. Now, I'm not bothering to color these in or doing anything like that. I'm literally just going to stamp these and leave them as is. You could be a little more careful and mask off things so that they're not overlapping, but I figured a quick card was a good card today, and sometimes that's just so satisfying to be able to make a card quickly and still have it look amazing. Now, I'm using that same black ink from Maker Forte to stamp out another image, and I'm going to stamp this 4 times. I'm just using some Simon Hurley stark white cardstock here and applying the ink to my stamp. I'm using Simon's acrylic block here as well, and just stamping those directly onto my cardstock. Now, if for some reason you don't get a perfect stamped impression when you're using an acrylic block, you can always use a pen with approximately the same width of the lines in your stamp and then draw in those connecting lines wherever they're missing parts. I usually get pretty good results with these red rubber stamps especially, but if you ever have problems, it's nice to know that you have kind of a trick up your sleeve. I'm using a pair of sharp scissors to cut out the flower images here, and note that I do move the paper more than I'm moving the scissors. For the most part, my scissors are staying stationary and the paper is what's moving. I find that this gives a smoother cut, so I definitely recommend trying that out. Now, I am going to be doing some Copic coloring today, and I'll show you the colors that I ended up using in a still shot in just a little bit that you can feel free to screenshot, pause the video, take a picture if you'd like to recreate this color. All right, we are all done with our coloring and we're ready to move on to assembling the rest of the card. So I positioned the flowers how I thought I would want them, so they looked like a beautiful bouquet of flowers, and I'm ready to stamp out my sentiment. I'm going to use that same black ink pad that we used earlier in the video, and I'm stamping out a sentiment from the Doodle Florals stamp set. I'll have everything linked below, like I mentioned before, but just stamping that in black crisp ink just to make sure that it gives a nice bold impression against the more soft look of the upper area of the rest of the card. Now, I love how the stripes come into play with the yellow. I don't know, something about this just makes me so happy. I love the way this turned out. I'm using a paper trimmer to cut off the edges and the top and the bottom here. I think I only cut off the bottom, not the top. But I made my card panel here 4 by 5 1/4 instead of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This means that I'll have a nice white border around my card panel when I mount it on an A2 size card base. Now, I'm taking a page out of Jennifer McGuire's book here and using some press and seal to pick up my arrangement so that it stays in place and I know that it will be exactly where I want it to go. I'm using a little bit of liquid adhesive from scrapbook.com to apply the Floral Bouquet, sorry about my head being in the shot there, to my card panel, and that way it will stick in place. Now the top flower isn't going to be super securely glued, so I will need to kind of lift that up and apply a little extra glue just because the other pieces of the flowers were kind of in the way. Now once I have that done, I'm ready to go ahead and attach it to a white A2 size card base. I use a bone folder from Maker Forte to score and fold my card base, and then I am ready to go ahead and attach that. That tool you saw there was an ATG, or Advanced Tape Glider, which is great for applying card panels to your card bases. Now I'm using a fun tool from Trinity Stamps that allows you to pick up little sequins and place them where you want them. Absolutely love this thing. And I'm just using that same liquid adhesive from scrapbook.com to adhere these clear sequins. I thought it was a nice subtle touch to add a little bit of sparkle and a little bit of something extra, and I think it finished off the card perfectly. Let me know what you think about today's project in the comments down below. I always love to hear what you all think. I'm looking forward to seeing you all in another video really soon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and have an amazing day.